A podcaster looking for a juicy story is plunged into a blood-curdling nightmare after he travels to the backwoods of Canada and meets an eccentric recluse with a lifetime of adventures and a disturbing fondnesses for walruses. This sounds like a movie that is worth watching because it is about a walrus. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another review. And of course, I'm going to be covering what I feel is probably Kevin Smith's best movie in a long time, and that is Tusk. I love this movie. This movie is everything I want in a horror movie. It is completely original. It is over the top as hell. And at the end of the movie, and pretty much the third act is where it goes into batshit insanity. And I love it for that. Like, the first two acts of this movie, I think Kevin Smith does an awesome job at building up tension. Like, Kevin Smith, known for directing comedies, pretty much proves the point that all great comedic talents have a penchant for doing dramatic work, and for like crossing that threshold into being scary. I think Kevin Smith's directing in this movie is solid. I think his writing is probably some of the best writing he's done in a long time, because this movie does not have, this movie has that Kevin Smith humor, but it's very toned down. Now, like, initially when this movie first came out, a lot of people were saying that the tone is very uneven, and even if in certain scenes, yes, the tone does have, seismic shifts. Like one scene, it's like full of dread and the tension, and Kevin Smith is doing an incredible job of building up suspense and tension. And then the next scene, the comedy aspect is, especially since it's Kevin Smith humor, can be a little jarring. That's to the layman, but to me, you got to see this movie more than once in order to appreciate it, because I think if you see it more than once, the horror elements and the comedic elements actually do pretty much blend perfectly into what this movie's trying to do. And I've grown to appreciate it a lot more, and I've grown to love it a lot more. Like, when I first saw this movie, I liked it, but now of course I've seen it more than once, I went from liking it to loving it. I love Tusk. This, to me, is by far one of the best non-mainstream movies, the best non-mainstream horror movie to be made in a very, very long time. Come on, you got Michael Parks, who in this movie, to me, gives by far the best performance I've ever seen him in. Michael Parks' performance as Howard Howe is the backbone of this movie. Kevin Smith just writes such delicious dialogue for this man. It's criminal that Michael Parks has never been acknowledged in any way by his peers or anything. I think in his lifetime, of course, he's since passed away earlier this year, but I think pre his death, I think this man was highly overlooked. I think this man deserved a hell of a lot more respect than he got, because in this movie he was awesome. How he can switch from being like this, mild-mannered old man to this creepy son of a bitch in the blink of an eye is awesome. And again, the dialogue that Kevin Smith gives this man, the dialogue coming out of Michael Parks' mouth is amazing. He delivers each line with such a chilling tone. Even when he's like being mild-mannered, you're still uneased about the way his delivery, just the way he just stares, the way he's the subtleties he uses in his facial expressions. Like Michael Parks, Class A actor. Really wish he would have had a better career than what he originally had, because the man is underrated as all hell. And to me, without Michael Parks, Tusk would have sank like a stone. He gives the movie its memorable moments. And of course, I love the chemistry with him and Justin Long. And Justin Long's another guy who I think is very underrated, because the guy is a pretty solid actor, and I like him in this movie. Justin Long plays this douchebag podcaster who's making fun of this Kill Bill kid because he made a video where he chopped his leg up by accident. And so, Justin Long goes to Canada to interview the kid. The kid ends up dying. Long goes into this seedy bar, sees a note on the wall, and it's like, oh, well, old man, tell stories. Oh, let me go visit this guy. And of course, you got to get Justin Long with that fucking caterpillar stash in his face, and he's a douchebag also, cheating on his girlfriend. But for all that stuff that he done, he does not deserve the torture that Michael Parks puts him through. Seeing what Michael Parks' character does to Justin Long's character, you just want to give Justin Long a hug and just tell him everything's gonna be okay. Because what Michael Parks does to this man in this movie is horrifying. It's that bodily horror. That when if you envision happening to you, you just be like, whoa, gives you the chills in a way. And what Michael Parks does to this poor guy, it's horrifying. You also have Haley Joel Osment, who's back from the dead. I see dead people. Well, I guess Haley Joel Osment was a dead person. These guys, because oh my God, they see Haley Joel Osment back from obscurity. He plays Teddy Croft, Justin Long's friend, and he's pretty good in it. And of course, you have the exceptionally striking Genesis Rodriguez, who gives a pretty good performance in herself as the girlfriend Ellie, as Justin Long's girlfriend that he cheats on. And this woman is way too good looking to be cheated on. It's criminal that he does this. He should be locked away. But for a movie like this, Genesis Rodriguez gives an awesome performance, and I especially love the performance where she's giving this, monologue, and she's acting her heart out, crying. You can tell she's like just giving it her all, and it's beautiful acting by her. And I also like the little like chemistry that she and Justin Long have. I think that's done pretty well. And of course, this movie also has a superstar cameo in it in the last half of this movie. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is the superstar cameo, and he plays a character called Guy Lapointe. And he is fucking hysterical as Guy Lapointe. I love. There's also this awesome scene where Depp and Michael Parks are acting off one another, and they're just chewing up the scenery, and it's fucking awesome seeing two talented actors act off each other. Especially seeing two very talented actors act off each other in a movie like this, where it's pretty much pulling no punches. And the fact that Johnny Depp wears a dick on his face is priceless onto itself. And of course, now getting back to what this movie is notorious for. This movie is notorious for turning a human being into a walrus. That's right. Michael Parks turns Justin Long into a walrus, and it is horrifying. He pretty much makes Justin Long his Franken walrus in a way. Like he reconfigures the man's entire body to match the anatomy of that of a walrus. He chops off his legs and takes the fibula of his leg bones, and turns them into tusks. He stitches his arms together, to his sides like a crucified T-Rex. And he stitches him into this walrus suit made of human flesh, and it looks so gross. It's pretty much Leatherface piece of walrus, to quote Kevin Smith, and it looks horrifyingly awesome. And the whole build up to that actual scene where it's revealed was awesome. You got this classical music playing in the background. You see this beach ball and this little enclave, and then the big reveal, and it's just like, holy shit, what did he do to this poor guy? And of course, it also leads to the end, where you pretty much get this, Iron Man type ending, where Howard Howe's in his own walrus suit, and he and Justin Long are beating the shit out of each other as walruses, and that's fucking over the top zany and fun to watch. So yeah, I love Tusk. Tusk to me is a 10 out of 10 horror film. And I've seen every single Kevin Smith movie. This is definitely in the top 5 favorite for me, because I think this movie is fucking awesome. One of the best independent horror movies to be released in a very, very long time, with a very, very solid cast. Beautiful. I didn't even talk about the production. The production of this movie is awesome. James R. Laxton, the DP, amazing job lighting up his shots. The film looks beautiful. Kevin Smith's direction is tension filled, and it's great. His writing is awesome, especially when you get to especially when Parks and Justin Long are bouncing off one another and they're bantering. It's great, especially the stories that Parks tells. I like how invested he gets. I like the characters as well. Howard Howe, to me, is awesome villain, and Justin Long plays a good dick who you feel sorry for near the end of the movie. So yeah, to me, this is one of the perfect horror movies to watch. It's great. 10 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm telling you, Tusk will keep you highly entertained. AJ Legend, like, comment, subscribe.